All right, and we are live. How's everyone doing?
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Bradley and John from Gardner and Mendoza Immigration Law Firm here in Virginia Beach, serving you guys all across the world. I hope everyone's doing all right today. It's kind of a strange day, we know, but we are here nonetheless with Facebook Live and here to answer any questions that you have. That's what we're here for first and foremost.
Yeah, I recommend you can stay here with us for a while until we're done and you've gotten all your questions answered, and then you can have a bite to eat and then go to sleep, because I know a lot of you are tired. I know you were up all night watching the election returns and didn't get much sleep. So
who watched the election returns? Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
I didn't. I found out this morning.
Yeah, I bailed. I couldn't do it. And
Yes.
and we still don't know. So anyway.
And we still don't know. So
But it's very exciting, regardless of who wins. The process is fascinating to watch, interesting to watch, exciting to watch, and part of the American experience. So we'll just leave it at that.
we'll leave it at that. Unless you guys have any questions.
Yeah, unless you have any questions.
Samuel, thank you for joining us. Samuel is watching. And I'm just looking at the comments the whole time to make sure we don't miss any comments. Sometimes the comments on the phone, they kind of scroll very quickly.
Yeah,
and so
that's true.
I'm going to be looking down at my screen. So it's not that I'm looking at you guys. I love you. I can't see you, but I can feel you.
Well, we do this every week, as you know, every Wednesday for, however long it takes. And the main thing we want to try to do is answer your questions. And as Radlin just said, if you have a question and you put it in there in the comments, and then we're doing something else and then we don't get to it, and then you hear me say, we had a question, but it disappeared, I can't find it now, please just put it back in there again, because that does happen. They scroll off, and then once they're gone, we have a hard time getting back to them. So if you have questions, put them in there, and if we don't get to them, just put them in again. Alrighty?
All right, Harshan, how's it going? It's our buddy. Thank you so much for the kind comments that you put on our Facebook page. I think it was yesterday or the day before. We really appreciate it. Jenica, nice to see you. Nice to see everyone. And how's everyone doing with the weather change and the time change?
I know that it makes me a little congested. I'm one of those people. I'm not sick. It's allergies, I swear. No, but it really is. It's just a change in the weather.
Well, right before I said, my nose is running like a baby. And then Sammy, our 14, was like, Mom, everyone's nose runs. It's not just babies whose nose runs. Like, I was confused by it because I never get sick, and I'm not going to get sick this winter. I never get sick.
And if everyone gets tired with the immigration information and you don't want to do that, we also just finished watching 2 seasons of Cobra Kai, and we can share karate ideas with you, karate moves.
Who has
against your
seen
political
Cobra?
opponents. If you have a neighbor who maybe voted for the guy you didn't vote for, and you want to go karate chop them, we can help with that.
Yeah, Cobra Kai. John and I never watch TV. We binge watch Cobra Kai. It's our time period, right? It's from the 80s, so
That's right.
it's when we grew up. So we had a lot of fun watching it.
Oh, like Baba Razan.
And we're, I mean,
obsessed.
are we kind of, are we embarrassed to confess that the only series we've ever watched are Cobra Kai and Stranger Things?
That's true.
That's it.
They both dealt with something from the 80s.
Yes,
From
80s
our
things.
youth.
Barbara's immigration attorney in Ohio, Cuyahoga Falls, I believe, or Akron. No, not Akron.
I think Barbara lives in Cuyahoga Falls.
Yes, see, I was right. So maybe we should bring Barbara on camera. Barbara, can we bring you on camera? We could talk about stuff. What do you think? Should we push that button? That bring on camera? I've always wanted to do that. Give me a thumbs up, Barbara, if you want that to happen.
Oh, it's Kent.
Kent, that's right. Kent immigration law. Yes. Why did we?
Kent.
Anyway, Barbara is a great immigration lawyer. Barbara worked for Gardner and Mendoza for a bit before she moved back to her husband's hometown when they had the baby. I know it had nothing at all to do with Gardner and Mendoza, and I'm sure it was the best job that she ever had.
And my hometown. That's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, it's like 2 blocks away from where John grew up. So
yeah.
Anyway, we won't talk about that one day.
No. The driveway is fully recovered, Barbara. Don't worry.
All
Okay,
right.
moving
Listen,
on.
moving on. We're so happy to see everybody on here. We're
Yes.
pumped up. It was a beautiful day in Virginia Beach today. 66 degrees, bright sun. The beginning of the week, I was a little sad because it was cold. It was just freezing cold. Like, seriously, it's already this cold. But today, yeah, I was happy.
Yeah, and all this nonsense chitter chatter is, it's to allow people to get on and also to get the questions rolling. So.
Yeah, and we're always nervous when we come on Facebook Live, and so it's just like our nervous energy as well.
Right.
Are you? Well, I'm not nervous anymore because
Yeah.
we've already talked about Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Kaya. All right.
So anyway, so we're going to do some state court updates.
State court updates, yes.
Very briefly. Actually,
Yes.
I'm just going to go right into that rather than
Right
tell
into-
you. I'm just going to let you know everything is the same with the courts. I was in Hampton today and I was in Virginia Beach today. Same thing pretty much in both places. You have to have a mask, as you know, to get in the courthouse. So make sure you wear a mask. In Hampton, they're doing temperature checks. They're not doing those in Virginia Beach, but they all are asking some of the basic questions. Do you have any symptoms of COVID? Have you been in close contact with anybody who has symptoms of COVID? Have you traveled outside the country in the last 14 days? Has anyone asked you to self-quarantine?
Is your nose running like a baby's nose?
All right.
They don't ask that question. I'm just kidding.
No. So the main thing I want everyone to know is if you have court, don't be worried about it. There's social distancing going on. Everything's marked inside the courtrooms. You can't sit in the same row with people. You can't sit close to people. They've got it all marked out, and everyone has a mask on, even the judges and the sheriff's deputies and the police and everyone else. So make sure to take your mask, and good luck. And if you need help, call me, of course.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So that's the state court update. How about USCIS? Any updates there?
Oh, no. Before we get into USCIS updates, we have to do our brag session.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Do you want to read the brag session, or do I want to read the brag? You read the brag session.
Oh, is this it right here?
Yeah, yes, it is. It is from Nellie.
All right, from Nellie. And the brag session, in case you don't know,
We brag about our law firm.
yeah,
That's what we do.
We try to get good reviews, and we get a lot of good reviews. And when we do, it makes us super happy because we know that we did things right. We know the case went well. And most importantly, we know that every single person at our law firm, on our team, that our client talked to and dealt with, did it in a professional manner, and they were satisfied. That's really why it sounds like a brag session about us. It's really a brag session about our team. All right. So positive, professionalism, quality, responsiveness, value. The best immigration attorneys in the whole Tidewater area.
Oh, we're not allowed to say that, but Nellie is.
We're reading it, yeah.
We're reading. That's right.
Bradley Mendoza and John Gardner are nicest couple, partner-in-law you'll ever meet.
Aw, that's so sweet.
See, this is all about the team. They have helped my family in so many ways. Their whole staff is fantastic. Always there to answer whatever questions you might have, always accommodating to your needs. Awesome. Thank you for that review. And again, we pass them along to our team, and when they see that, it makes everybody feel good. So
Absolutely. And know that we're moving in the right direction, and that is just excellent customer service combined with a great outcome. So
that's what we're shooting for every single time. Oh, and by the way, the other thing that we need to tell you is that things you hear here are for informational and educational purposes only. It is technically not legal advice. You can ask us legal questions and we're going to get the answers to you, but it's just for education purposes. Okay?
Okay, let's get the absolutely. Let's get
Okay.
the questions going.
Yeah.
So shoot your question to us. We will try to answer the question, and we have another. I think hopefully Barbara's still on here. We even have another immigration attorney to help
That's
us out
right.
if we don't have the answer.
Yeah, if we don't
Barbara,
have the
send us
answer.
a question. Okay.
Right.
See if you can stump us.
Yeah,
no,
send
don't
it.
do that, please.
And it can't be about Swenson's, all right? I don't remember the menu that well anymore.
All right. Okay. So USCIS updates. Let me get to that. Okay. So the USCIS office is in full swing. I was just there. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. I was just there yesterday. And everyone seems to be there. It was very busy. They have an overflow room now for if you're waiting, because the waiting room is all spaced out. And it seemed like there were multiple 3 to 4 officers interviewing at the same time. So they seem to be all there in the office from what I could see. We're going to find out more. We have a coffee with the field office director in, I believe that's next week. And we're absolutely going to report back to you.
Yes.
From that meeting. And so we have experienced some waiting times there before the interview. And as I tell my clients, we have to be patient. You know, we don't know why the office is backed up. Maybe someone didn't show up on time. Maybe they were waiting for a lawyer that was late. We don't know. But there's really no point in getting angry and overly anxious about it. It happens. It's gonna happen. And the best thing to do is, you know, breathe in, breathe out, try to relax, and definitely don't go in there with a bad attitude because you've been sitting there for a little bit waiting for your interview to be called. That's not going to help anyone. And I'm not trying to lecture. I'm just talking about, you know, really just common courtesy with regard to the unknown. Like, we don't know what happened. We don't know why they're delayed. We have no idea. It could have been a computer problem. It could have been a glitch. So there's absolutely no reason to get steamy. And I've seen people sit there and they've got steam coming out of they've got steam coming out of their
airport. Just think of an airport when you're traveling. You just have to be in a frame of mind that things may not go smoothly. There may be delays. Things may get lost. It's going to happen.
Right.
Just roll with
it. And it doesn't happen very often at Norfolk Immigration. I can say that. And I'm sure that if it has been happening, they attorneys will let them know for that meeting next week, and it will get addressed. But just be patient, and we all just have to try to, you know, kind of lead into the situation that we're in. I mean, and I'm turning into quite the good small talker with my clients, you know, just chit chatting, and I kind of like it. You know, I get to know more about my clients if there's a long wait. That's the silver lining of a long wait. I mean, you know, my clients going skydiving. This is craziness.
I don't have the silver lining with the long wait because you can't talk in the courtroom.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, that's right.
It's just silence. It's just sitting quietly.
Well, you could scroll your phone or, you know, play a puzzle and help with your brain. Read the paper.
You know what I like to do, and I always have for 20 years? I sit and I listen to all the other cases because occasionally I will hear something that's new to me and I can pick up on it, jot a case down, or, you know, write a clever argument down. Anything new. I'm always looking out for something new to learn.
Smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I married him. Cuz, how's it going? My cousin's on.
Hey, Malou.
Because I've shared this to my personal page. Otherwise, my family would never come and hang out with us on Facebook Live. All right, but so that's it. It's very busy. It's very busy at the Norfolk Immigration Office. If there's a wait, don't worry. They have not forgotten about you. They're just running behind schedule. All good. And we just keep on pushing forward. And my case yesterday was a N400 interview. We did get the oath notification via email today that my client is going to get sworn in. And we were told yesterday by the immigration office when I asked, you know, how long is it going to take from the approval of this N400 application to the time of swearing in. And they are still doing oath ceremonies at the Norfolk Immigration Office. And she said 2 to 3 months. We will get an official time frame next week and report that back to you. But she said 2 to 3 months. I felt lucky yesterday and I said, hey, can we just go ahead and swear him in right now? And she's like, yeah, no, we can't do that. I tried. You can only ask, right?
That's right.
You never know. All right. What else do we have here? Ooh, do you want to take this next one here? This guy? Yeah. Let's go ahead and hit this one.
But we're gonna skip all the legalese. There have been times when I've talked about things here on our Facebook Live. Then I talked about, you know, the 7th Circuit issued an injunction and they remanded part of it and joined part of it. But then another court, they stayed that injunction and lifted part of the other injunction and remanded all of it. And And some friends of ours, a very good dear friend of mine, she said, John,
What are you talking about?
Facebook Lives are great, the information's great, but skip all the talk about injunctions and staying injunctions and de novo reviews, and because you lose people with that. So, public charge rule is back on.
That's all I
right.
want to say. Yes. How about we say that it was off last week and now it's back on,
Now it's
or
back
maybe
on.
it was even earlier this week. I don't know. It's all
Yeah.
the whole public charge rule and having to file the I-944 with your green card application. It's back on for the law firm. It was never off because
Right.
we haven't ever stopped asking our clients for these documents because this is a very volatile situation with this I-944, and you have to be ready. You have to be prepared.
You do.
Just keep getting those documents together.
And we keep following it because, I mean, it's a lot of extra information. You know, essentially, it's the I-944. This is the public charge. This is to prove that, you know, if you do come here, you're not going to become a public charge. And it adds a bunch of extra information that we have to gather and submit. And it's been going around. I won't use injunction and stay and so forth, but it's been bouncing around the courts. And what keeps happening is we've got one federal judge says that we're going to strike that. You don't have to use that because it violated the,
APA,
thank you.
Administrative Procedures Act.
Administrative Procedures Act, and then you've got another court of appeals lifting that, saying no, and then another court. Remember, every time, and I'm doing it again.
No, go. Go for it. This is
We have an interesting federal system of law in the United States where basically any federal judge, one federal judge can issue a rule, an order on something, and then that suddenly becomes the law of the land. So you've got one federal judge can issue an injunction or can lift an injunction or can order something or stay the imposition of an order of something. And then it has to go through the Court of Appeals. And then the Court of Appeals doesn't have to rubber stamp it or not. They can sometimes approve it or sometimes they can send it back for further proceedings. And then there's more litigation. And so this stuff just bounces around. And usually what happens is when it bounces around enough, when you've got enough different circuits saying different things about it and tossing it around, it'll work its way all the way up. And then the Supreme Court will weigh in at some point on a final order on it, final decision. Okay, so
all right.
that's what's been happening with the 944. It's just frustrating for us because it's on, then it's off, it's on, it's off. But right now it's on.
It's on.
Okay.
Are we going to put another post about that? I don't know, because it could be off again tomorrow. All right, so we have a question from Jenica. Jenica, thank you so much for the question and joining our Facebook Live tonight. But she says, hello, are they open now to file for U.S. citizenship? Thank you so much. So USCIS is open for filings. They have never stopped accepting filings. So absolutely, if you are a lawful permanent resident, well, you don't even, I won't get into the exception of being a lawful permanent resident and filing for citizenship. It's a little complicated. But if you are eligible to file for U.S. citizenship, they're absolutely open and ready and willing to take your N-400 application along with your $725 filing fee. And you should absolutely file it as soon as you can if you're eligible. John and I have been saying since February, we started doing Facebook Lives February 19th, 2020, and I know that because it was my birthday. And I think that I tell everyone every single week that my birthday is on February 19th because I don't want you guys to forget. So, and we've been saying, file your case if you're eligible. And, through this whole coronavirus and the presidential proclamations and some of the bans, it's confusing. It's just like, okay, is it open? Are their offices closed? Are they still processing? USCIS has continued to process applications, and they are still. And even when their physical offices where they interview people and do biometrics were shut down, they were still processing the N-400, the marriage adjustment cases, the I-130s, all the things that you can file with USCIS. So yes, I know this is a really long answer, Jenica, to your question, but they are open. They have always been open, and we continue to beat that same drum that we've been beating week after week since February of 2020, and that is please file your applications, because they process, USCIS processes first in, first out. So, you know, it makes sense. I know I sound a little silly when I say this. The sooner you file your application, your petition, the faster they are going to get to it and process it, and the sooner that you're going to be a U.S. citizen. And then do other things, right? Petition for your parents if that's what you want to do, or you know, maybe you have a spouse who's living abroad and you want, or here, and you want to petition for the spouse. So yes, go for it, and then you can vote in 4 years, right?
Right.
All right.
Yeah, it's all systems go, full steam ahead. I mean, we just had an election. We don't know the results yet. Quite frankly, at least in my opinion, you know, immigration really kind of fell off the radar in this election. It was not a big issue like it had been in 2016. And depending on who wins, who knows? There could be changes. We don't ever bank on it or think too much about it, because it's just, in all the years that we've been doing this, you can't really play that game. We'll just have to cross that bridge when we come to it, if and when it's something that needs to be crossed.
Yes.
For now, play the game that's in place, which is get your stuff filed now.
Yes, and get it filed before the filing fees increase, because that's going to happen. I mean, you talked about that lawsuit a few weeks ago. So the filing fees did not increase on October 2nd, but naturalization application was set to increase to, I believe it was to 1,170. So from 725 to 1,170 plus the biometrics. So anyway, file was still 725. Some of you guys out there probably know when, you know, the N400 was $25 or whatever it is. I hear the story. So
And that was an example of one judge who put the brakes on the whole
which is a good thing. So Jenica also has a follow-up question. She wants to know, how do we notify USCIS of an address change? So if you are a lawful permanent resident, you are required to notify USCIS that you have moved, and you do that through the AR-11. So AR-11, I'm just going to Google it and see what comes up. Okay, so the first thing that comes up when I Google AR-11 is the USCIS.gov page to the AR-11. It's extremely easy and simple to do. So absolutely change your address if you move, if you are a lawful permanent resident. If you are a naturalized U.S. citizen, then you don't have to do that. So our buddy Grant, you know, he doesn't have to change his address. We know where you live though,
And
so
make sure you do 11, AR-11. Make sure you get the right number, because if you get some other number, then you may be getting a lot of
something else.
National Rifle Association emails coming your way.
Right, AR-11. let me just put that. Actually, I'm going to just put that link in real quick for Jenica and for all. You follow it online, and basically you put in your old address, you put in your new address. It's so simple and easy.
Yeah, the keeping agencies up to date with your new address, you know, that's consistent throughout the law in many things, whether it be taxes, if you're on a bond, if any of you are on a criminal bond and you change your address, you need to make sure that you let the court know.
Immigration court, you have to change.
Court, yeah.
That way you get your notification. So yes, change the address. Okay, let's see here. We don't have too much that's new. For those of you who are following the November visa bulletin, the November visa bulletin is pretty much the same as October's. So if you are third preference employment based, if you fall into that category, the cutoff dates advanced quite a bit for China and for India and are current for all other countries. So check your priority date. I'm sure that if you, you were watching the October visa bulletin and then didn't get a chance to file your green card application, that your attorney or your employer, somebody is looking at that. But if no one is looking at that and you need help in trying to figure that out, as far as, hey, this is my priority date, can I file for the green card right now based on this priority date, based on the November visa bulletin, please reach out to us. Put your email in, and we'll get in touch with you. But that's important. But again, I'm talking to people, I'm sure, who have already filed or getting all their stuff ready to file. For family-based 2B category, use a final action date, so that is current. So if you are the spouse or unmarried child under the 21 of a lawful permanent resident, then you can file adjustment of status if you are here in the United States, and processing through NVC as well. So that's big, and that's good. That's great. We did public charge. Any other questions here?
Any other questions coming through?
Let me see here.
Well, this may be a good opportunity for me to talk about beating a drum. I want to beat my drum again about the driving privilege card. It's already November, folks. January 1st is right around the corner. And for those of you who are not familiar with this, this is a new law that goes into effect on January 1st, which will allow folks to get what's called a driving privilege card, which will allow them to drive legally in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and you don't have to show any kind of immigration status, okay? So your immigration status is not a part of this application, okay? So whatever it is, it doesn't matter, okay? If you have insurance, if you can pass the test, if you can show that you have income in Virginia that's been reported on tax returns in the last prior 12 months, then you're eligible for this driver privilege card. It's only for driving, it's not for anything else, and it is technically different than a Virginia driver's license. But if you're just here and you got to go to work every day and you drive for work and you worry about getting pulled over because you don't have a Virginia driver's license, or you only have a license from your country, but you've been in the United States or even Virginia for years, this is perfect for you, okay? This is what you need to do. Give us a call so we can give you some details, or you can try to Google it if you want to look into it yourself. But please take advantage of it. And if you know anyone else who you think will benefit from this, let them know, okay? Because this is a huge deal. I say this every week. I think it's just kind of gotten lost with everything going on. We've got a presidential election and a pandemic. So there hasn't been as much talk about it as I thought that it would be, because this is a really, really big deal. There are a lot of people, right here in Hampton Roads who I know will benefit from this if they know about it and can get the help to do it, okay? So get the word out there, and if you don't know anything about it and you know somebody who will benefit from it, or you think they might, just have them call me, all right? And I will let them know what they need to know to do it, all right?
Fantastic. Thanks for that update, and hopefully people take advantage of it, because when I do consultations, I've done a few consultations this week, and a couple of my consults, they could have or would be eligible to take advantage of the driver privilege card. They had no idea about it.
I know. I'm seeing this too. I deal with people all the time who I know, when I ask them the questions, I say, well, you meet all the requirements here, and they say, well, I've never even heard of this before. So It just hasn't been in the news very much.
Okay, so let's, before we switch gears a little bit to this Department of Labor, the salaries and H-1Bs, talking about driver privilege card, you had a case, reckless driving case. Let's talk about the reckless driving case a little bit that you had.
Today, yes.
You're like, what about it?
Well, I mean,
come on, honey, we're setting this up. Remember?
Of course. No, we've talked about this. Whether it's a DUI or reckless driving or any other charge for that matter, some are more of a concern than others. I mean, theft, for example, or solicitation of prostitution, or domestic assault and battery. These are even bigger problems. But this was a reckless driving case. It was an accident that took place. For those of you who don't know, in Virginia, reckless driving is a Class 1 misdemeanor, just like a DUI. So it carries a maximum of 12 months in jail if convicted, and a $2,500 fine. All right. We had a trial in Hampton today. My client was found not guilty after our trial, which we were really happy about.
Awesome.
Thumbs up on that. But Radlin and I were talking about just these cases, and to make sure to get reminders out there and make sure that people realize that if you're not a U.S. citizen, these cases can sometimes be a problem. So let's walk through this real fast. What if my client today, instead of having a trial and being found not guilty, what if she had just gone up there by herself and pled guilty to the charge, okay? and it was a pretty bad accident. Let's say that the judge found her guilty and gave her a weekend to serve in jail and a year of probation.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is the, and then she had her N400 interview the very next day.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. And before we continue with this hypothetical, I just want to say hi to Jeff. Jeff, great to see you. Thanks for watching. Jeff used to be an immigration officer a long time ago, and maybe he still is. I don't know, but not in the Hampton Roads area. But he's a super cool guy, always friendly and always helpful and respectful to our clients. But anyway, hey Jeff, hope you're doing well. So back to the hypothetical.
Right.
We've got not John's client.
So now we've got somebody who has a reckless driving conviction. They've got a year in jail with all of it suspended except for the 2 days that they're going to go to serve on a weekend. And then they've got
a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they've got a 2-year good behavior period, which is unsupervised. For those of you who know traffic or criminal court and the general district court, or even circuit court for that matter, usually the good behavior period is unsupervised, but it is a good behavior period. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why they suspend the jail, so they have something to wave over your head to make sure that you stay out of trouble. Okay.
Gotcha.
So this person now becomes an immigration client.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just say that they get this disposition like, hey, Gardner Mendoza, I've got my interview tomorrow for naturalization for N400. Will you come with us? Will you come with me? Here's my certified disposition. And we're like, ooh, this is not going to be good. Jeff knows. He's like sitting there nodding his head. He's like, yeah, not good. Because number one, we have a year suspended sentence. And so I can't say as the immigration attorney, hey, this case falls under the petty offense exception. And therefore, she still can be found as a person of good moral character. And therefore, you can approve this N400. That's one issue. Second issue is that it's a year of, you said a year of probation, right?
Well, let's say it's 12 months in jail.
12 months in jail, that's a
suspended,
problem. Because it doesn't fall under petty offense exception.
And it's suspended on condition of 2 years of good behavior. So for the next 2 years, they have to stay out of trouble. And if they get in trouble, the judge can put them in jail.
So they can't approve an N400 application with any good behavior period. So this case is most likely going to get denied by the immigration officer, and the client, the applicant, is going to have to apply again after that 2-year good behavior period. So that's pretty devastating in some cases, because a lot of times people are applying for naturalization because they want to do something else. They want to become a citizen, so they can do a fiancé visa for someone, or petition for their parents, or apply for a job with the federal government. So this is going to be a huge and a big time major delay. Going back to this hypothetical, that 2-year good behavior period, that sounds pretty severe to me for a reckless driving case. Is that typical?
That's not. No, it is not typical, but in, say, a DUI, it would be very typical. And some of these charges, the DUI included, are not necessarily going to be a bar to someone naturalizing and becoming a U.S. citizen. It's not that you're going to get deported because of that and can't become a citizen. It's just that, as you said, that good behavior period now makes the case not fully resolved. It's still pending in a way, okay, conceptually, if you can think about that. Because during those 3 years, if you get another charge, then you're back in court for that charge, and you also can go to jail for the time that was hanging over your head on the first charge. And so, as Radlin said, immigration's not going to take action.
They're not going to wait. They're not going to wait around for that.
Right. And in a lot of DUI cases, the good behavior periods are 2 years, 3 years. It's pretty common in that realm. All right. So we bring all this up because, again, these are charges that aren't going to be a bar, and especially something like reckless driving. I think people think, mine was an accident
Traffic
today.
ticket.
Mine was an accident today, but a lot of reckless driving cases actually deal with speed. Let's say you go in and you speed you plead guilty to reckless driving by speed, you know, and you just think, it was a speeding ticket. It's not even a problem. Okay, be careful with that. Be careful with that. It's not going to be a bar, but it could create a delay that can be really unfortunate.
Right. One just kind of flipping this hypothetical around, and I know you guys are just loving this reckless driving naturalization hypothetical. I can tell in your eyes.
I can feel it.
I can feel it.
Yeah,
So let's flip it around. Let's just say because today you had an excellent outcome and the client was found not guilty on reckless driving. Let's say that they said, hey, can you expunge this, right? They were found guilty on the merits, and let's say it got expunged.
Yeah.
And then she comes to us and she says, hey, I want to apply for citizenship. And I say, okay, one of the questions is if you've been arrested, cited, charged, indicted, fined, or imprisoned for, breaking the law, whatever. Cited is a ticket, right? It's a citation. A lot of people look at traffic tickets, even though a reckless driving is a class 1 misdemeanor, and they look at it as a ticket. Right. A lot of people miss this question on the N400 application. They don't think about a ticket. They don't think about a ticket and about mentioning the ticket. And then,
or they feel like because something was dismissed, oh, well, I was found not guilty of that, so no, I don't have any reckless driving conviction. But the question is not whether you were convicted.
The question is, have you ever been charged, cited?
Right. Okay.
Have you ever been arrested? And so if you check no to this and the answer is actually yes, then you will be seen as lying on the N400 application, even if you thought to yourself, hey, it was expunged. I didn't know I was supposed to check yes. It was expunged. For me, for my job, for any of my whole history, it never happened. But for immigration, it absolutely did happen, and you have to put it on your application.
Right.
So if that same interview was the next day, we had the certified disposition that she was found not guilty, we would be able to finish up that N400 application with a not guilty, reckless driving charge. But you have to put it on your application, even though it was expunged. And we can't really emphasize this enough, because we've seen this as a pitfall so many times where, people are like, but it was expunged, but you're denied. And you can't apply for another 5 years, or if you're married to a citizen, 3.
And while we're on expungement, just briefly, because I also get a lot of expungement questions, Virginia has a very, very tight expungement law. And by that I mean, if you want to have something expunged from your record in Virginia, a criminal or traffic case, you have to have pled not guilty and been found not guilty on the merits of the case, meaning evidence was presented and the judge found you not guilty after hearing that evidence. Okay?
So we have a not guilty plea today,
right,
on the merits, right?
This case would fall into that, yes. So if this person wanted to have that expunged, they could. But I hear this a lot of folks, maybe the police officer doesn't show up to court and the charge gets dropped or something like that, and they want to have it expunged. That's a lot harder, okay, if not impossible.
All right, excellent.
Or they plead guilty, and 6 months later, somebody comes into my office and says, "Oh, I had this lawyer, and he told me to plead guilty, and now I want to get it expunged," and you can't.
Right, the problem. All right, we're still looking for questions. Feel free to write them in the comments if you have any. But I also wanted to go over this issue with Department of Labor and H-1Bs. So there's a new wage system, and basically what it's doing is for about 18,000 positions, job positions, it's putting the wage at $100 an hour, or $208,000 per year. So regardless of the skill, the position, the occupation. So that's a problem for our H-1B petitions, and also for if you're filing a labor condition application. And of course, that's being litigated right now, so we're watching that. But that's just something to be aware of if you're filing an LCA with your employer, and this is coming back, and your attorneys is like, we have to wait to see what this lawsuit and where it goes. Just wanted to make you guys aware of that issue and that problem. Okay, so let's see here. We already covered the major delays of USCIS. We've been talking about that for weeks and weeks. And again, I'm gonna mention this because I don't think I mentioned it last week. Again, you do have more time to respond to USCIS because of COVID. So if you received a request for evidence or a notice of intent to deny for your case, or a notice of intent to revoke, or a continuance request for an N-400, and you received that in between March 30th of 2020 and January, is it 1st? Let me see here. Yeah, March 1st of 2020 and January 1st of 2021, then you have an additional 60 days to respond to that. So your notice will give you a due date, and you can file within that 60-day period. So I wouldn't cut it all the way to the 60th day or anything. Do it within the 60-day period. So if you have any questions about, hey, when can I respond to this? If you're having trouble getting the documentation because of COVID, there is that additional grace period. Let us know, and we'll be happy to help you out with that. All right. So I think that a lot of people are still watching the returns right now.
Yeah,
right?
That's fine. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a crazy time.
Our advice on that is enjoy. It's almost like watching a sporting event. I mean, just the back and forth.
It's blood sport.
Your team is up and now your team is down, and your team has momentum and then they lose momentum, whatever. But you know what? For those of you if your guy wins, you go celebrate. And if your guy loses, you're going to get to do it again in 4 years. All right.
Right. And one of the questions that we have gotten, and I'll just address this really quickly, is, what's going to happen if X person wins the election? What's going to happen with my immigration case? What's going to happen for the future filing? I want to file this immigration case. Just a lot of questions about what if so-and-so wins. And our answer to that is, I'll just say that I follow the advice of one of my mentors, Sylvia Becker. She told me probably 20 years ago, and she did nurse immigration, mainly Filipino clients. She's a wonderful, wonderful attorney. And she pretty much said, look, Bradley, don't watch these things. Don't watch the bills, the immigration bills. There's always a talk about immigration bills. This bill is going to come out and they're going to do this and this is going to happen. And this is the same thing. Like, okay, this president is going to be the president and he's going to do this, and this other president is going to do this. If he's president, don't pay attention to that until it actually happens. She basically said, and I'm paraphrasing again, I got this advice 20 years ago and someone gave her the same advice. You're wasting a lot of energy in trying to figure out what's going to happen, what should you do, because we don't know what is even going to happen. Even if X president or Y president becomes president, we still don't know what they're going to do with immigration. We have no idea and no clue. I mean, so many things. And I mean, I've wasted energy on that before, I'm not going to lie, but I'm not wasting energy. We have to wait and see, and whatever it is, we're going to be prepared, and we're going to inform you guys as to what happens. So,
if you want to watch a football game because it's fun, then enjoy. I understand.
This is not fun for a lot
I
of
understand. You can, I used to say to my dad, Pops, why get all stressed about the game? You can just check the score in the morning and you'll know who won. But watching the game was fun. But watching Bills, not fun. Watching them develop is not, because, and it doesn't matter because all the draft versions have things and you don't know what's going to be. Attorney Becker is right. The only thing that matters is what is the final rule, what's the final law that comes out of it,
and what can we do about it with the final rule that we have. So going to take that advice with this election and try not to get too worked up. I mean, I already have, I'm starting to get gray hairs. It's really, during the COVID, we can't worry about things that we have no control of. So your fitness notification. It's time for us to go do some fitness now.
Yeah, there are a lot of fitness apps that I purchased in the early part of coronavirus.
I hope you've canceled them by now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Cancel your apps. Cancel the apps that you're not using. That's our final advice.
Yeah.
But no, listen, guys. Seriously, we really appreciate your support. We appreciate your questions and your attention. If you have any questions whatsoever, shoot us a message through Messenger. You can also reach us through info@gmlaw.net, or you can go the old-fashioned way and give us a call at 757-464-9224. We want to hear from you. If there's something that you want us to cover and you want to hear about it and you have a question, shoot us a question. We will cover it in the next Facebook Live, because we're here for you guys. We're here for the community. And we started this in February 2020, and it's just been a really fun and interesting and educational for us as well. So you've helped us become better communicators, and now I have to pay attention to immigration news, every single week, whereas sometimes it would, well, not now, because it just like comes at us all the time, but you've made me a better attorney by these Facebook Lives, and we appreciate your questions, and we hope to see you next week.
and we always have an eye on the legislation, so whenever we do get a president, a new one, and a new Congress, and if there's immigration law changes, we will be on top of them, and we will keep you up to date on them. Okay, whatever they are, good or bad.
Absolutely.
We'll
You
deal
guys
with it,
guys
okay?
make us better lawyers, and we do appreciate that.
All right, everyone.
Two
Enjoy
thumbs
your
up.
night. 2 thumbs up.
Take care,
All right,
guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Right.